The market's off about 50 points, 49.85. Hovering around the day's lowest point. 4983 is the day's low on the Nifty. The Sensex 16714, 145 point cut coming in. Tech Mahindra is around 8%. Numbers came out after market hours on Friday, and the numbers don't seem to be too comforting. We've got the management to talk about those numbers and throw greater clarity on these numbers. Sanjay Kalra is CEO of the company. Sanjay, good morning. Great having you with us. Prashant this side. Let's start with some of the issues which seem to have been thrown up. There are some question marks being raised in terms of accounting for the revenues from British Telecom. There's been some restructuring which has happened on British Telecom's end. When you used to pay cash to British Telecom in return of the orders, you used to term those cash payments as exceptional item. Now you're getting a lot of this cash back in lieu of the restructuring which is taking place, and that's being spread out as recurring profits as a recurring item over about 3 or 4 odd quarters. So can you talk about that for a bit? How does this work?
Sure. I may not use the same terms that you did, but I will talk about it. Assuming that we have some time, I would like to actually give you a landscape and then answer the questions that you raised. Is that okay?
Fair enough, sir. Go ahead.
So 6 months ago, when we used to discuss in the same forum, what were the things we would discuss? We would discuss that markets around the world and demand is down. We would discuss that Europe in particular, and in that UK in particular, is suffering a lot. BT was going through its own challenges, and Tech Mahindra had raised 3,000 odd crores of debt for the Satyam acquisition. Now, when I look at that today, and I turn back, I find that in the last 1 quarter, and actually if I take it in Jan where we retired some more debt, the debt now, outstanding debt is about 1,400 crores from the 3,000 that we were at 2 quarters ago. The second thing is that our anchor tenant or anchor client with whom we had a lot of concerns across, including from your own channel, we have said that we've started to stabilize, and we think 70 to 72 million pounds is the range in which the numbers from this client will remain for some time. If I look at my business in North America, quarter on quarter has grown in US dollar terms by 13%. If I look at my business in rest of the world, which is Middle East, Asia Pacific, India, albeit from a small base, my revenues have grown 43% in that space. So that sort of puts to rest the fact that overall as a business from Q2 to Q3, we seem to have performed in line, perhaps somewhere exceeded what many other companies may have done or expect to do. So now let's come to the question you raised. You said something about paying money, you said something about when we've received money. So let us look at BT. Number one, I don't think there's any linkage between the two. There was contracts that we won, and we were executing on these contracts, and then all the challenges that happened with the world economy and with BT happened. And we have been sharing with you that there has been demand for lower rates. We've been sharing with you there's been concerns in the market that the contracts are not really delivering, that BT is not keeping its commitments, and we've always come back and said it is not true, the contracts are delivering, however we are negotiating. Then I came back to you last quarter and said at least for 2 out of the 3 large contracts we have reached agreement and we are finalizing the wording. So what is it that we've really achieved? The first thing that we've achieved is we have managed to simplify the contracts, because these contracts were with different business divisions of BT, and these contracts were for different services at BT. And what we've been able to do in the last range of discussions and agreement has been reached, that we have a common, consistent, harmonized price list across all business divisions, across different kinds of services that we deliver to BT.
Right.
So there's a new rate list.
Right. Let me just come in here for a minute. For the businesses that you've grown, I completely agree with you. So you've been able to stabilize businesses, grow businesses in some of the other verticals. My specific question was, in terms of the payment or cash that you paid to British Telecom, which was earlier treated as an exceptional item, how does that become recurring now?
So let me explain to you.
Revenues, those payments over a 4-year period, right?
Absolutely. Over the remaining term of the contracts. Because number one, we've given simplification. Yeah, I'll just explain that to you, Prashant. So first thing is we've led to simplification of the rate list, which is a newer rate list, albeit lower. The second thing is we now have committed volumes over the period of the contract. In fact, we have now committed volumes over contracts where we did not have committed volumes earlier. So the contracts continue. They've been restructured with a harmonized rate list. They are simplified now, and a restructuring charge has been paid to us. Now, the advice of our auditors and advisors on that is very clear. They are saying you can only recognize this revenue as you deliver services against these contracts and as you incur cost against these contracts. So we've just taken that very simple advice, and we are recognizing the revenue quarter on quarter on quarter very transparently with you, saying this is a one-time restructuring charge that has been paid to us, and our auditors have advised us that we should be recognizing this quarter on quarter on quarter, and that's exactly what's been announced.
So by the same logic, when you made those payments to British Telecom for those particular orders, 10% of revenues or whatever on day one to the client, they should have also been kind of staggered on a recurring sort of basis and not, not as an exceptional item.
Prashant, I don't think the two are linked in any way. I don't think these two events have any linkage. The restructuring fee that we've received now is in return for agreeing to restructure certain contracts, their scopes, their rate list, etc. And it is in fact advice of the auditors whom we will listen to, saying what we expect you to do is to be amortizing this over the period of the contract, which is what's being done here. So if I want to give you confidence, all I can tell you is that in that amount there is 6-7 million pounds of amortization which will be there for the next 44 to 48 months. So I don't think the two are linked.
Mr. Kalra, talking about the client association right now, can you give us more sense? You just talked about that that for committed volumes you have decided to lower the rate list. Can you give us some more quantified data there? What kind of cuts have you taken in?